My name's Ian Montgomery. I founded Blue Ridge Aromatics in March 2015. We started with a Indiegogo campaign. For those that are unfamiliar, that's crowdsourcing for startup businesses. Our goal was 10,000. We only raised 5,200, but with Indiegogo, you take what is pledged. So our family and friends and business school colleagues just really rallied together for us and helped us put this together. So with that $5,200, we built Dante. We got a little bit of seed money to just kind of roll for a while and get our bearings and get our systems worked out. And for the last year, we've just been distilling and learning and just making it happen. This is made of recycled materials for the most part. This was a stainless steel essential oil drum for a beverage maker. It contained cinnamon essential oil when I got it. The water is about here. It's heated by an electric heating element. The element boils the water. There's a basket inside of here that contains our plant material. The boiling water forces the steam through the plant material into this basket, which is a second basket for plant material. There are gaskets that keep the steam inside, not outside. Ultimately, the steam comes up through this plant material as well, collects through our gooseneck here, and comes into the condenser. This condenser has internal tubes that the vapor comes through with the oil that's picked up by the steam. And then this is cooling water, which we source from the creek, pump it down here. The cooling water comes up through here and heats up as it goes up, in turn cooling the vapor and turning it into condensed distillate. This distillate has hydrosol and essential oil. Here we can see it's separated. Hydrosol on the bottom, oil floats on top. The unique design of the Essensier allows the hydrosol to come out the bottom into this container and the oil to come out the top into our other container. Well, we can distill all kinds of things. We're currently limited because we can't dial back the temperature that much. So fleshy plants like basil and mint are more difficult to distill in this because they go faster, they'll cook. But conifers and other heavier duty plants we do with ease. A lot of our plants are collected, harvested from fallen trees or pruned from trees. So we go fresh, mulch it up. Here's an example of what we're distilling right now. It's white pine that's been mulched. You can see the needles and the wood chips and the bark. It all goes together. And so that is what fills our two baskets. I found that a smaller particle size allows for better collection of the oil. It also allows me to fit more in here, so I can do a lot more in one run, which is more energy efficient than doing 5 runs for the same amount. Because each time we run the still with conifers, it takes anywhere between 3 and 6 hours, sometimes up to 9. So you can imagine with 2 or 3 runs, you're looking at an extra, well, 50 cents an hour to run the still. So that'll add up. Well, in regards to how we collect the material, this particular batch was from a third of a white pine tree that had fallen off in the woods. We found it on the property and said, okay, we're going to distill that. We also will collect saplings, for instance, from our agricultural field. When we are distilling a species that is growing at somebody's house or is not native, like for instance Leland cypress or thuja, also known as arborvitae, we'll do pruning at the base of the tree, just the bottom 4 to 6 feet, depending on how much the homeowner wants it trimmed. That helps keep vines out of the trees, keep a little bit of health, because those branches are tending to die off anyway. We really make a point not to harm what we're harvesting. The point is not to just make oil. The point is to use what we have in abundance and not have a negative effect on it. We also try to source waste material as much as we can. For instance, we did 24 Christmas trees, recycled. They were in people's homes, they were thrown out on the curb, we collected them, mulched them, turned them into essential oil. Another product we do a lot of is ginger. We source this material from a local kombucha maker named Buchi Kombucha. They're gracious enough to let us try it, and now we purchase it for a low price and distill every little thing they can give us. So really, waste products, so many businesses make waste. We really like to find businesses that are willing to let us into their waste stream and follow the cradle to cradle model, which would be, instead of waste being waste, waste equals food for another process. In this case, distilling for essential oils. And our ideal customer is somebody that's going to take those oils and put them into another process. Make soap or salves, massage oil, medicinal blends. So really, it's not about making something, it's about being part of a bigger process. And so that's why we're so glad to be at this farm, because we're not just going to grow things or harvest from the forest. We're going to cultivate. The bee balm that we find along our creeks, we're going to take cuttings and plant more and help their population, not devastate it. I started my career in this after business school. Sustainable business was the concentration. And that's really where I come from the beginning, is just really trying to, sounds cliche, but harmony with the world around us. So Hydrosol is the byproduct of the distillation. Some people distill in smaller quantities just for the hydrosol. Because it can be used as a skin toner, can be used as a deodorant for households, a spray, freshening spray, linen spray. It can also be used as a cleaner, especially if you put a little bit of alcohol in it. One of the issues with storing, selling, marketing hydrosol is the fact that it's perishable. So it's going to need to be refrigerated or diluted with some alcohol to become shelf stable. Therefore, it's a somewhat difficult market for people to source it because it's perishable. And it can also be difficult for the distiller to maintain an inventory of it without a large storage room that's refrigerated. I think the most important caution about distilling is, as we've already touched on, is that sustainability. The second being safety. If you don't know what you're doing with wiring, building a still can be dangerous. If you don't know about pressure, 1 milliliter of water expands to a liter of steam. When you boil that water, it has to go somewhere. If this isn't big enough, you can have a time bomb on your hands. This whole thing could explode. So research is very important. Another important thing would be to properly identify the plant material that's being distilled. There's the obvious concerns where you might get poison ivy thinking it's something else. A lot of people know poison ivy, but do we know all the poisonous plants in the woods? No. Do we know what could be poisonous on the skin? Not necessarily. It's important to do the research. It's important to properly identify the plant, find out about the plant, research it before distilling it. And that's something that we take very seriously. Properly identifying, researching, and then distilling, while making sure there's a sustainable population before ever harvesting.